Want to live better?
We've got a lot of work to do.
Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live better now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live better now. Streaming August 15th on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Your novel? Fantastic. Now, when do I get the last chapter?
You have the last chapter.
What you've written is a romantic tragedy.
Hello, this is Cathy, and this is The Cinemile, the podcast where my husband Dave and I record our walk home from the movies out every Sunday. But this is not that podcast. This is my weekly spin-off where I chat about the latest episode of And Just Like That with a guest. And this week I'm joined by Ali Barthwell, the multi-Emmy-winning and currently Emmy-nominated writer for Tonight with John Oliver. She's a comedian, she's a performer, and she's one of my favourite recappers of all time. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here with no tech issues at all.
Whatsoever. We've not had Dave in the room fixing things for us.
Not at all.
No. And listen, how do you feel about this show? You've been watching the show, right?
Yes. It is a show that is so baffling to me, and I could watch 800 episodes of it. I am like a true Sex and the City diehard. I started watching Sex and the City season 4. When it was airing live with my mother. We would stay up and watch the reruns late on HBO. And I was like in my early teens. Like wow. I maybe wasn't even a teen.
Tween.
A tween. I was a young tween, and I've watched it. So I watched all of it from that point live. Then I went back and watched the beginning. I had all the DVDs. I've listened to all the DVD commentary. At my college, you could list what DVDs you like had in your dorm room and lend them out. And so I had the Sex and the City DVDs. So it was like my room was like the hot spot to come and get the Sex and the City DVDs. I've won Sex and the City trivia. Like I'm all in. And this show is so disrespectful to my culture and my heritage.
And your personality.
And just so much it is. I have thoughts from every episode. I even was like, as I was taking notes on this episode, I was like, and this thing from last week. So we can get into all of it.
We'll get into everything. See, this is every week. I love that I have a guest with a different perspective. Every guest but one has actually watched the original. The kind of watching it in college box set thing a lot of us have had because we're probably around the same age, which I love. It's interesting though. I find within Just Like That, I'm very malleable on it. So if a guest is really down on it one week, I soak that up. And then if a guest raves about it the next week, I soak that up. But I think I'm now I'm on the positive because I think the last week's episode was good. And then
stuff was happening.
I feel like
the last 2 episodes, stuff has been happening.
Which is a compliment.
Yeah, but there are things that I'm like, this is an interesting... Because, okay, here's my biggest hot take. This is the hottest take that I think I have. The stars are too involved in the writing conception. And I think that was like the error from the very beginning. Because if you're like a television actor, like at a certain point, it's like you just show up. Like you're just a working actor. But because Sex and the City has become like a cultural phenomenon and like all these women are associated with their characters so strongly... And Sarah Jessica Parker like never watched the original series. This is so like weird. A thing she said in interviews a lot. So it's like you have this woman who has like some level of creative control. It's like an executive producer having a strong opinion on like what her character should do, but she's never watched the series.
I agree with you. It's funny, we've had a lot of comments about that actually, where people are saying at this point they're just playing themselves. Like Miranda is now Cynthia Nixon, Sarah Jessica Parker is Carrie, and even my theory also is that like Michael Patrick King shouldn't be writing it. I've gone way further because I think he's too close. They're all too
enmeshed. Close. And I think it's not even like, sometimes I'm like, it's not even that they're enmeshed. It's that they won't let their characters like be messy or make mistakes or have flaws, because it's like, I don't want to have my friend looking crazy on TV. And it's actually like, if you watch Sex and the City, they all are assholes. Like they're mean to, they're bitchy, they're mean to each other. They're making horrible mistakes, like with the guys that they're with, and you love them because these are your character. These are your, you've watched them as an audience member, and but you're never having this moment of like, they have to do everything right. And I think in Just Like That, one of the issues is everything they have to do has to be right, because they don't want to be looking crazy on TV.
I think it's a really good point. I think Miranda Cynthia Nixon is / which if it's the same person at this point, the most willing and has always been to like be naked. What I don't get though, if this is the case, right, and the actors are playing themselves or they're too close to it, then why does Kristen Davis allow herself to just be a clown who falls over and like has vertigo? That's the bit where I think Sarah Jessica Parker, like I believe firmly that Sarah Jessica Parker signed off on every scene, right?
Absolutely.
Every outfit, every piece of set design. I believe Cynthia Nixon has a fairly strong, she's directed episodes. I'd say of the three of them, Charlotte's got less influence, because surely she ain't signing off on these plots.
Right. And it's like, okay, because clearly the writers want to make it have some sort of comedic influence. Like they want it to be fun and light in certain ways. But then maybe the only person who's like game is Kristen Davis. So they're like, okay, well, we'll just give her every single embarrassing thing, every silly thing. And like, she is very funny. Like she's very funny in the original series. But I wouldn't even say she's like the best like physical comedian.
No,
and
I don't think so.
A lot
Sarah
of
Jessica Parker, actually, I think when she wants to be, is very funny.
She's really funny. Here's also another one of my things that we could get to, but like her sarcastic meter is like off. It's like everyone just took like half an Ambien and they're just like, they're not sharp. They're not with it. Like they just had like an extra strength Benadryl and an Ambien. Yeah. And so there's things where like Carrie in the original series is like biting and sharp and like witty and like sarcastic, but that doesn't always happen on the show, on And Just Like That now. And there's moments where she is sarcastic, but then you'll listen to recaps or read recaps and they're like, was she serious? And it's like, it shouldn't be that ambiguous for a show like this.
And it does, like, I often think as well, it's like, okay, the edges have been dulled, right? It's 20 years later. She's been bereaved. She's been through, pandemic fucked us all up. She lost her husband. So then maybe they're making a statement about a personality shift, but then they don't go there either to like investigate that, because that's quite interesting, like how you change the person. But then we don't get that either. So.
But also like, and this is, very personal. Like I've been through cancer. I had leukemia. And like the thing that makes me and my family, my friends laugh the hardest is when we are talking about those like really dark things and like really like, oh my God, we were so in the depths. Like, can you imagine? And then we're like, so the next second you're like cry laughing. And Carrie on the original show was dark. Like people always reference, there's like a line where I think it's right after she sees Big's wedding announcement. And she's like, oh, should I just go buy a gun? And like, should we kill ourselves? Yeah. And it's like, that's so dark and so funny, and a way that you would be dark and funny with your friends, that it feels like I would be like, oh my gosh, my friend is not fun anymore. Like, why is my friend not even just being herself with dark humor?
She's just wandering around. Well, thank Christ it's furnished now, but like wandering around. And the big news this week about the cancellation, did you see it coming?
I I really thought that this was going to be something that they were like, it's just like a legacy heritage brand and we'll just let it run until the actors don't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I was a little surprised, but I've heard rumblings that just people aren't watching anymore. They just stopped. I think for a while people were hate watching, and now they're just like, I can't even muster enough hate to hate watch.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen like the live ratings have gone down, but that doesn't count for anything because people aren't watching stuff live. But I haven't seen the like on-demand ratings. And there's so much discourse about it. It's funny because myself and my guest Caroline last week were chatting, actually speculating, are they wrapping it up? Because they were wrapping Seema up so much last week. So when I initially heard the announcement, which is last Friday, so we're recording this on Monday the 4th, the announcement was on Friday, and I thought, okay, I believe them that they planned it, because they said that's why it was 12 episodes, and I thought, well, they were wrapping it up. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and now that we have just watched episode 11, there is no way this is a 2-part finale. What do you think?
As I was watching it, I was like, this is so short, and like nothing happens in this episode. I was like, they've said like this was one episode that split, but I was like, they were not
no way
planning big things. But I will say, I think it's a Michael Patrick King thing that everyone ends up in a relationship by the end. Like that's a very him, like in the movies and at the end of the series, like everyone ends coupled up. And so there are things where I'm like, okay, Miranda's got Joy, Harry and Charlotte are going to have sex in the next part.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Seema has Adam, and then we can debate on what we think Carrie's going to do. But like everyone is coupled up, settled. Anthony and Giuseppe are getting, you know, got to get married. I think I don't think they planned that this was the finale, but I think every one of Michael Patrick King's seasons ends with everyone kind of settled in a couple. So I can see this would be an easy one to parlay into the finale.
I think he's saying it, but like when I think back on season 1, we got wrapped up nicely in case it got cancelled. Season 2 was wrapped up with The Last Supper. I think they wrote this thinking, just in case we're cancelled, we'll wrap it up. But I now don't believe his statement, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like there is no way in your second last episode that you have Lisa Todd Wexley and her husband that disconnected, for example. Where's the Marion plot gone? Herbert's an asshole. Then you've got Miranda and Joy. Like, if they were to actually end up together now, it would be pretty tragic because we've barely seen them. There seems to be something, like, not quite right or warm there.
Yeah, but part of it is, like, scenes never finish. And they sort of start, like, you know when you're in a dream and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm here now. Yeah. Like, that's kind of how every scene, like, starts and ends. Where it's like, oh, we didn't, like, complete. So it's like there's like big parts missing, or like there are things where it's like, no, I would want to see the characters like talk about the information that was just revealed.
Yeah, or exchanged
information, and it just like ends. So the fact that like, oh, we haven't seen a lot of Miranda and Joy together, I'm like, that's just how the show exists.
They'll just be married next week. It's so funny because off the back of last week though, I was like the Carrie and Duncan stuff, I loved all that. I loved the Brady getting the girlfriend pregnant stuff, or sorry, not girlfriend, but yeah, I felt like we were on a roll last week, and I got so excited. I was pumped. And then with the cancellation, I was like, oh my God, we're going to have this incredible 2-part finale, because I truly believed Michael Patrick King's statement. And now I'm like, oh, fuck you, I've just watched this episode. Like, I actually panicked after I watched the episode. I thought, what will I talk to Ali about? Like, nothing happened.
And I also had a panic because there were so many things where I was like, did I miss an episode? Like, they're so far into the fall that I was like, did I miss an episode? Like, we were just at a couple leaves. Again, that's another, like, all the Sex and City movies, which are like Michael Patrick King straight up, they all are like a year. Like, all of them are just like a year told over time. So I was like, yeah, we're going to end with that. We're ending on Thanksgiving. Of course we are.
So yeah, I wonder if they'll skip to Christmas over till Thanksgiving. And remember, like, the first season, she was writing the book about Big, but it was like all the seasons were passing. It's like he saw that one montage in Notting Hill where Hugh Grant's walking past the pregnant woman and she ends up with a baby, and he's like, I need to do that now.
This is it. This is
everything I've ever made. Right, we need to get into Carrie, right? And again, just like kind of lunacy at the beginning, because we meet her in this pie shop, and the owner is like, she's such a good customer that in lockdown she ordered 3 pies and then she let them to rot. And my question is, couldn't Carrie have just given her money and not forced her to bake a pie that's going to rot and go to waste?
Also, Carrie Bradshaw from from Sex and the City original is not this woman to like buy pity pies. I was like, what is happening? I think they really want to have a sense of like a slice of New York, and like this is the only way that they can do it,
with a literal slice of pie.
With a literal slice of pie, and I just am like, what is the like? We don't learn anything about like this isn't about Carrie. I don't know the name of the actress that owns the pie shop, but she's in she's like a wonderful like character actress, and I just was like, oh, I'm excited to see her. Like this is a funny actress, but it's like she's banned everyone else from placing pie orders.
I know what it will be, right? Because I'm quite a sucker for the Writers' Room podcast on this, and they always say, oh, one of us saw this hilarious scene and then we brought it into the Writers' Room, and someone will have gone, oh, there was a pie shop that didn't take orders. And instead of someone going, okay, that's an interesting thing in real life, but actually shit on TV, they'll have all gone, that's an amazing idea. And that's what will have happened.
Yeah.
But
I used to teach improv and sketch a lot at the Second City in Chicago in the US. And I would have students bring me a scene, and it would just be the most like meandering, bizarre thing. And I would go, what is the point of that? Like, why am I watching that? And they would go, oh, that's how it happened. And I would go, great. That doesn't make it theater. Like that doesn't make it a scene. We have to like put structure and put intention and put a point of view on top of it. And there's just so many things throughout all of it just like that, yeah, if you listen to the podcast, they're like, well, this happened to someone and we just thought it was so funny. And it's like, yeah, but you have to make it like have a purpose. It has to. They
need you in there. I feel like I've had a lot of writers on this podcast, right? I've had a load of writers come in and they all pitch better ideas than the Writers' Room.
Right. And I think, or this would have been a really funny if there was another character. Because at first I thought it was like Hot Fellas, like when it opened, because Carrie was like ordering pies. So I was like, oh, are they selling Thanksgiving pies at Hot Fellas? Like, this is what it is. But then it's like, okay, if it doesn't have like if it's just like a cold open, like a fun teaser, then like tie it back to something from the original series.
Yeah, I was thinking, is this woman in the original series? I don't remember. I don't think
she is. Yeah.
I think the whole point of the scene was to be like Carrie misses her old neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which like we don't need a pie scene. Like she's got a fucking necklace of the door number of her old apartment, you know.
Yeah,
like,
we get it. We get it.
Anyway, she bumps into Lizette, of course, because we need to connect every scene. And then Lizette's like, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend. We were together 7 months. And then the big erasure continues. Carrie says, well, my record was Aiden. I was with Aiden for 22 years. It's like, you were married.
Is wild. This is truly like, and I understand if someone being like, we were on and off for 22 years, but to be like, our relationship was 22 years is crazy. Insane. And like, I feel like I'm a rare that like, I love Big. Like, I love Big and Carrie. Like, I do actually think that is like, they're in game for me, like always have been. And he was in game for her. Like all of the romantic comedy tropes that existed in the show were around Big. He ran to another country to confess his love for her. Like,
yeah, he's in the pilot and he's in the last episode. It was always Big all along. Even though up until this series, I was always Team Aiden. By God, I'm not now.
No, absolutely not. No. But yeah, it's just sort of, it's one thing. And it's also like you were married for 10 years or 15 years or however long you were married.
It's crazy.
To be like, oh yeah, I was married. To say to Lizette, well, you know, my marriage was, even to be like, well, I got 10 years with Big and 22 with Aiden. Like that would even be more reasonable.
But does it make sense? Because she was with Big in season 1, right? She got with Aiden in what, season 3?
He was season 3 and season 4.
Married to Big until 2020, maybe 2021. She's with Big longer, like she's even mathematically. If you're to count beginning to end as she does with all the breakups in between, it's at least even, and yet she married one of them.
Yes.
So like the big erasure, I really think like after season 1 they barely mentioned Big again, and I think it's that whole thing of how they can't separate actors from characters because of the Chris Noth issues. They were like, well, we can't mention Big anymore now. It's like, well,
and it's like
her husband.
it was her husband.
Yeah.
He died like in her arms, basically. Like you would bring him up.
Like she doesn't. When I think it was when I had Chelsea Devantes on, we were saying, at least wouldn't you have a picture of Big next to the bed? And that would have been one of the things Aiden would be a bit funny about, instead of Aiden just carrying on about like steaks and donuts. And
right. Or you would have that she would have something from her wedding, like
anything.
A book, like if she got a book at the library, that one of the love letters, like
that'd be amazing.
Or she would wear that. Like, yeah, there were a lot of little very romantic,
like anything, the blue
things.
shoes, anything. But so the big erasure continues, and I'm incensed every time I hear it. And she gets invited to an apartment. Fine. She meets the editor, right? I love asking writers this: how do you feel about The Woman, and is it a book you yourself would read?
Oh, I would not read The Woman. The Woman sounds like a terrible book. I just wrote a book. Like it's coming out. It's coming out next year. It's nonfiction, so it's very different. But
it's not historical fiction. Then it's a woman looking at a train window. What's it about? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's about reality TV, and it's sort of nonfiction guidebook. I'll say that.
Oh my God, I cannot wait.
But so, like, one thing that is very interesting that I was thinking about as I was watching this episode is, like, Carrie as a writer is a big part of the original series. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we see her pivot over to books, and she's, like, this smash success. But we never really, like, no one ever is like, this is bad. Or, like, to have her speak about being a writer, or to, like, or even be like, to say to her editor, which is also like she's talking to her publisher, like not even like the editor or whatever, to be like, I've written 7 best-selling books. I'm not going to add this extra chapter.
Yeah, but I think it's because she's insecure because she switched to fiction. But you're right, she doesn't push back at all. Actually.
No. And it's also, I don't think you would, if you're someone like her who's written all these books, I don't think you would be weird about switching to fiction. Like, you clearly have a fan base of people. Mm-hmm. They would buy, like, they're like, this is just so weird. And also, like, in the series, when she's writing her column, she's always like, I gotta go, and it sort of like dashes it off. Mm-hmm. And it would be really funny if she was like, I'm just gonna get drunk and write this stupid chapter, and like, they can, you know, I'll write something bad that they'll never put it, like, it just. But again, it's like, it's sort of weirdly not knowledge. It doesn't really acknowledge that she's like a writer. Like, at this point in her career, she's written multiple books.
She's hugely successful.
She's
like,
huge.
Duncan's ex-wife last week like gasped when Carrie walked into this publishing party, and she was like, I've been trying to get Carrie Bradshaw for so long. And Carrie Bradshaw said to Seema last week in a scene I really liked, you know, Duncan sees me as a writer. And like, I guess maybe that speaks to the fact that she's maybe always been a bit self-conscious because she was like a sex columnist.
Which also, this was another that I wrote down. It's like, this is a tangent. This is not off this episode.
Good, go for it.
But in my opinion, in the fandom, and I remember talking to friends about this, it's like, Big is her like chemistry sexual match. Like, they just have that thing that draws them together. Aiden is more like her emotional match, in that he gives her the emotional like security that she needs. Mm-hmm. This is Burger erasure, because Burger and her were both writers.
This is such a good point.
And they met because she was publishing her first book, and he had written his first novel. And she talked about like, oh, we have such amazing conversations, and we're so witty together, and he thinks, you know, we're so funny. We laugh all the time. It's like, that's erasing another boyfriend of like, you did have someone who thought you were smart first.
That's interesting. But then was there a slight twist on it where like he got
insecure.
jealous of her, but Duncan actually fucked up his book to help Carrie's book, which is like a slight, which I kind of enjoyed. Like, she deserved someone to fuck up a book for her. But you're right, they did have that connection. But then remember, I think her and Duncan, because sorry, Dunkin' Donuts, to give him a
Yeah.
title, because they hadn't been hooking up, it kind of had remained that way, whereas her and Berger very quickly got into like a messy...
Yeah, they started dating right away.
Yeah. But she
also,
did, you're right. And she dated Justin through.
She's dated other writers. And I think, you know, for all his flaws, like Petrovsky did like her writing. Like he did compliment her writing when he was with his friends. Like he had that scene where he like read the newspaper to his friends. So this is not the first
I love
person.
this Petrovsky defense, first of the season.
Yes, but it's like this is not the first time where she's been in a relationship where the person thought she was smart.
She just
Like,
wasn't fucking him.
Right? Yeah. Just I don't. Also,
And then she did, and he left.
And Duncan has disappeared. He's just gone. We'll get to it. We'll get to all of it.
And I had such a crush on Duncan until last week, and now he like repulses me because like the editor actually. But I mean, maybe this is a good book, Ali, and maybe we're underestimating it because Duncan used the word propulsive about this book. Remember, he couldn't put it down. And then the editor says, your novel is fan-fucking-tastic. I literally could not put it down. Your prose is fluid and so moving. Like from what we're hearing, this is a page-turner.
There would not be a book where the main character like didn't have a name. And like, again, having gone through like very, you know, my first sort of touch on the publishing industry, they would be like, Carrie, you write fun, like self-reflective, quirky, witty relationship books. Just write a novel about your marriage with Big.
Yeah.
Like,
because she wrote the memoir, but she could fictionalize it now because they had a great time when they were like dating.
Right.
Or at least have a bodice ripper. Like there doesn't appear to be sex in this book.
Yeah, it's like but just like her brand is witty, quirky. Like her brand is very like, you know, her column was like subversive and edgy and, you know, gossipy. It's like, why are you writing a book of just like a woman staring out a window? And then the scene at the very end when she was like, the woman opened the envelope. She cracked the ruby red wax seal. She took the parchment out of the envelope. I was like, your editor is going to tear you apart. That is such bad prose writing.
It's terrible. It's a terrible read.
Unbelievable.
Like I used to love her column. Like I would have read her column every week. I love the original book. Yeah, I would never read this shit. And it's funny because it made me wonder again then, because I'm hyper fixated on the cancellation now, and they said it was originally 10 episodes, we extended it to 12. Is Michael Patrick King telling us that these last 2 episodes are like the epilogue, and in fact we're gonna see her end up alone? And was it really? Did he really plan for it to end? But again, that's so shit if that's actually what he's doing with this
I don't
episode.
know if she's gonna end up alone. It would be. There's one episode. I think I'm sort of stealing this from like another recap podcast, but I think she's going to go to London, or Duncan's coming back.
Really? I've seen a few people have messaged us saying that. Somebody messaged me today actually saying, oh, well, Samantha's in London and Duncan. I'm like, if she rides off into the sunset for Samantha, who she talked absolute shit about in season 1, I feel bad for Samantha.
But I think it could be something of like, I split my time between London and New York, which would be a very sophisticated, cool thing to do. And like, Duncan's finished with his book. I'm finished with my book. We're going to go be in London. Because season 2 ended with her and Seema in Greece.
That's true.
So I wonder if she's...
pathetic though. Like Duncan was so like, clean the sheets when I'm gone last week. Do you know what I mean? Like he was really like, I'm done
that's
with you.
when she's in the scene with Seema, to sort of go back to the recap of it, she's sort of saying like, oh, I bought this house for me and Aiden and now he's not there and Duncan's gone. I'm like, you're crying because Duncan is gone?
I know, like and I know he was her emotional crutch, and like, you know, granted I would absolutely love a hot man downstairs who just constantly told me how clever and amazing I was, but he was because of how time goes in the season, apparently they had like a 5-month relationship, or 4, you know, a lot of time appeared to be passing that we never saw, and then he left like quite abruptly. Yeah, in that scene as well, it was an interesting because like Seema's like, oh, you should buy that apartment below, and I was like, okay, I finally understand, because the whole time I was like, is she his landlady? Is he her tenant? Like, who owns this apartment? So I was interested to hear that piece, but like Seema's like, you know, just buy it because it'd be more desirable to sell, which is such a estate agent thing to say. And then we get these rare glimpses into Carrie's actual feelings where Carrie says, but I'm so upset, like it's too big for one person, like I feel really sad. And then Seema's like, it's a shitty apartment, which I loved her indifference. Yes. She doesn't hold the same like she doesn't hold the weight that we hold. Yeah. And that's what an estate agent would say. If your client was a millionaire, you'd be like, fuck that apartment.
Yeah, you'd be like, just buy the apartment. Oh my gosh, my parents, so I live in a condo and I own my condo and I'm in like a small building. And my parents are like, oh, if we win the lotto, we're going to buy all the other units in your building and we're going to like knock down the walls. And then you can have this amazing, like giant 2-level, you know, apartment. But it's like, yeah, you just talk about like real estate things.
Yeah.
To be like, yeah, you should. If it's also like, it's weird that she lives in a multi-million-dollar house. Like you know, I don't know how familiar you are with New York, but like that area would be like some of the most exclusive real estate like in the city.
Like she's so rich. I had a guest on from New York who was speculating it would be like $5 million.
Yeah.
Not more.
And it's like, yeah, you would buy that downstairs apartment and turn it into your guest apartment when, you know.
Yeah.
Miranda
or write in it.
Or right, yeah, it would be your office. Like you could, you know, she could build a podcast studio. She could have her writing office, like all of these things.
And then she wouldn't have to share the garden with like some rando who rents, because after all this work she supposedly put in the garden, which they've never paid off. There's a fucking huge garden plot, and now we never see the garden. But like that, but I actually wouldn't want. If somebody random moved in and says that they'd have access to my garden, like, yes, Duncan, of course, you may come out and smoke your pipe in my garden. You're very handsome. But yeah, that I guess this scene was like giving us a bit of a, like, into that psyche of her. And like, again, reminds us just, like, do you remember in season 1 when she just kept buying different houses and selling them?
Yes.
It was so outrageous. It was just, I hated her so much in season 1. I've warmed up again to her.
It's also just like, oh my gosh, that is, buying an apartment is the most like time consuming activity.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not if you're rich though.
Maybe not if you're just like offering cash, but it is just like, why would you just buy the apartment downstairs, have somebody, you know, move, put your shoes in it and like keep it pushing. Like, why are we upset?
Just buy it. And actually, do you know this funny thing? Because we've skipped a scene here, right, where they all go to Lily's show and there's not much for Carrie there. We'll get into Charlotte's later. But the guy shows up, who's a famous actor whose name I've forgotten, and they say Mark Kasabian.
Oh, Victor Garber.
So
Victor Garber.
So this is the bit where I thought, I don't think she's going to London, but suddenly I thought, why is he here again? Why is he being introduced to us in the second last episode?
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that is interesting.
I think what they're going to do, and it's a bit like the epilogue with the woman, where there's like, oh, there's a cousin coming over from London and I'm going to meet him. I think it's just going to be like, Carrie's okay and she's dating, but like they do not have time to set up a love of her life, and like frankly it would be a bit after all the aid and stuff, you know, as if it would be a bit weird if she jumped into, like, she's very damaged by that. I think they're just setting it up that there might be a bit of fun in her life again, and this guy might be it, because otherwise I truly don't know why he's there.
I don't know. They've weirdly not had almost anyone having any sort of casual sex. So I'm very, and I don't think that's like a Sarah Jessica Parker
I don't think
goal.
she'd go for it. And even he said, I always like being engaged. That's the fun part. So it was like, he's a bit of a serial. So maybe he's not the guy for her. Yeah. Otherwise, I was a bit like, why is he here? And then the last thing, so Carrie gets to Lizette's apartment. How did they turn this into 2 apartments? This is a small place.
That was another one where I was like, are there no building codes? Like, it's already a small apartment. Like, it's a junior 1 bedroom. Like, if you look at the layout of her original apartment, like, it is really small.
They've cut the living room into half, and that's an apartment. But then is there a toilet there?
Yeah, right. There's only 1 bathroom, but it looks like, because again, if you remember to the original series, when she's having the fight with Aiden and he's like, why do you need that second door from the bathroom? And she's like, this is why I need a second door. That's the door. That's Lizette's apartment. I'm doing air quotes. So Lizette's entrance is through the bathroom. Then she has the closet and the bedroom.
So they share the bathroom.
I guess, but he has to go outside of his front door into the bathroom. That's why I was like, this is wild. I understand if they were like, we have to do something to Carrie's apartment to make it so she can never go back there. But this was just like,
This is illegal.
I've been around some, 20-something guys who it's like 8 guys in a 2-bedroom. They wouldn't even, they're not building walls.
No, they're not building walls. I know Lizette owns it, so maybe she's like, fuck it, throw a drywall up. But even at that, as you say, building codes, like, this is a nice part of New York.
It's just,
you're not fucking with your real estate like that.
It just like doesn't, because then, okay, so then you have to think of that guy's apartment. Ezekiel, he has the living room, her bookshelves, and then the kitchen. So he doesn't have he made a studio apartment. Lizette has a studio apartment with no kitchen. He has a studio apartment with no bedroom area / no bathroom. Like, this is
rough.
This is insane. Like, this is, if you went to your friend's house and they were living like this, you were like, we have to get you out of here. Like, this is
a bad situation for everyone.
You're having a depressive episode and you've started painting on the walls and we got to get you out of here. Like, it is
You're actually erecting walls in this space. Maybe he's got like a chamber pot situation going on and like some baby wipes and hand sanitizer.
And this scene with Lizette was another reason that I was like, Carrie's going to end up with somebody, because Lizette is going, oh, you come home at night and I come home at night and I'm by myself. Aren't you scared? Aren't you worried?
She was so rude. Could you imagine actually saying that to your widowed friend? You fucking bitch. How dare you? Like, are you not worried someone's going to attack you? It's like, doesn't it bother you living alone in that big house? Are you scared of what could happen to you? I would find that like offensive.
But it's also like, this is a woman in her 50s, 60s. Like, she's fine by herself. But that, like, the fact that Carrie wasn't like, fuck you, I live by myself, is why I think she's gonna be like, I need somebody to be here.
And I think she doesn't want to live by herself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But then I think, and again, I always give them way too much credit, but like, is the message of all of this going to be rewriting the wrongs of the end of, like, say, season 6, when like Samantha ended up with Smith when she never should have? Is this going to be like, do you know what? Carrie's fine on her own. And like this.
Because I think there is something like thematically of Carrie has sort of rebuilt her life around a man sort of over and over. For all of her talk of being super independent, she goes to Paris with Petrovsky and gives up her column. She ends up, the whole thing in the first movie with Big, that he's going to buy the apartment for them, that she buys this apartment for Aiden, that she has sort of, she'll drop everything and build her life up around a guy. And it would be something to confront that. Like, if you're a woman in your 60s, she's a few years out from her husband passing. She had this relationship with Aiden fall apart, to be like, okay, what actually do I want to do? Where do I want to live? Where do I want to go?
Yeah.
And have an active, interesting life. Like, I think that would be really interesting, especially if like if Miranda or Charlotte brought it up, of like, well, you bought this house for you and Aiden, what are you going to put it? And I think Charlotte tries to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, that is something that would harken back to the original series and would harken to the movies of like, what does it mean to live a life for yourself as a single woman?
And so many women this age are either single, widow, don't have kids, whatever. There's so many women this age living alone. Like, it's not an abnormal thing. And the show's presenting it almost like, God, is Carrie a freak? And it's like, she's really wealthy. Like, wealth lubricates a lot of things.
Right. Like, this could be the most glamorous life anyone could live. She's a well-respected, celebrated author. She has friends that live all over the world. Why not just like, I'm gonna screw my way through the literary capitals of Europe.
Yeah,
like,
this is what we want. And also, like, I keep pitching for this to nobody. I'm sure Michael Patrick King's listening to my podcast, but like, why is she not nurturing young talent, right? Like, if I was this wealthy and I was a writer, I'd be like, in a house this size, I'd be like, I'm going to give maybe young female writers from like the sticks, like she is, a bursary. You can come live I'll buy this downstairs apartment and like
that would be,
rent it out.
Yeah, that would be
fulfilling. Cute. Educate other writers, like maybe she wants to pick out female talent, whatever. lift somebody up, Carrie. Like, she's
Or,
so
like,
self-obsessed.
Or like start your own publishing company and be like, oh
Like
my gosh.
SJP did you
Yeah,
see
like-
that? She's a Booker Prize. I forgot to say this. She's on the Booker Prize panel. She's one of
but
5
it's
judges.
like she could be
Crazy.
like, oh, my last 2 books, my fucking publisher, who is somebody that I know, who the actress that plays her is like a friend of
really?
mine. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
like,
no
oh my
way.
gosh, my publisher, the editor at the publisher, she won't just publish these books about being the reality of being a woman of a certain age, living alone. So I'm going to start,
She could self-publish on Kindle. Carrie, I'll typeset it for you. I'll post it for you. Like,
but it's
it's
like
free.
I'm gonna start my own publishing company, whatever,
That'd be amazing.
Manolo Blahnik Books or
Yeah.
whatever
And,
it
like,
is.
One of our guests, Rosemary, pitched that she should just have a Substack. It's like, oh yeah, of course. Why doesn't she
Yeah,
have a Substack?
yeah, she would just
please.
have a Substack or just like do your books on Kickstarter, like whatever.
Yeah,
but again,
like, do
it's just
anything.
like just something glamorous. Like I'm gonna start a publisher. She can hire Enid
Oh my God,
to
I'd love
help
that.
run the publishing company. Like we can have a glamorous vision of a woman living alone.
I would love to see that.
Because
Yeah.
she's living this and again it ties to like no one's ever seen me as smart. She can have this intellectual pursuit to be this amazing author that like travels around or
I would love
fosters
that.
young talent or publishes her own books, like whatever. There's all kinds
Yeah,
of things
just-
she could do.
That's why I never feel sorry. Like, obviously I felt sorry for when Big died, but like they dragged the arse out of that in season 1, and then I'm never watching it now. Like, I felt really bad for her with the Aiden stuff. Like, I think they did a really good job of making you think, I cannot believe everything she's done for this man, and he still like doesn't trust her, and I found him really nasty before they broke up. So now we're at a place where we finally have a bit of sympathy for Carrie, and like by the end of this episode I felt it eroding because she got home, she turned on her alarm, which, do you remember from like episode 1, her
Yep.
alarm code was like Carrie and Aiden forever or something.
Yeah.
So bad. The woman opened the door to her dark home and struck a match to light the candle in the vestibule. The glow from the taper illuminated an envelope waiting for her there on the cold marble table below. Like, what are we doing here? She broke the blood red wax seal and removed the delicate piece of parchment inside. An invitation from Virginia Perry to attend a party to celebrate the return of her cousin Joshua Perry from London to New York City. The woman folded the paper, intrigued. This was the handsome widower Virginia had spoken so highly of. This is the epilogue.
What?
Like, what?
Just what?
Maybe she's doing what you said, where she wrote such a shit one that the editor.
And
would can
also,
it.
it's so hard because like we don't actually know like the
story.
plot of the book, like like the in canon, like what is the book actually about? To
Yeah.
be like, who's Virginia Perry? Who is her cousin?
specific.
Like it's introducing concept. It's like
Yeah.
you should have a scene where Carrie is on some podcast or talking to Duncan's ex-wife, be like, it's a novel about a woman and she's traveling. It's about the woman and she's traveling to the location unspecified and she, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
So that
just
when we hear Virginia Perry, I'm like, who is that? Who
Yeah.
is that? Because then I was like, okay, is Virginia, like Aiden lives in Virginia and Perry, because isn't like canonically her apartment on Perry Street?
Oh my God, you've dug deeper than I have in the recesses of my brain.
Well,
If
yeah.
that is it. That is so sad, Ali, if that's actually where she got that character from. So who's Joshua then?
I'm like, who's like, I don't
And he's moving from London to New York. So like, she can truly only write about her own life. But do you remember
Right.
last week with Duncan where he said that the soldier had died, and I thought, oh, there's a man?
right.
Like, truly, I thought it was just a woman looking out windows and like wearing petticoats and like
And-
saying the word 1846 over and,
And
over
I
again.
think it like Duncan really should have been like, oh, this is you.
Yeah,
like-
he never seemed to know that.
And he said like, oh, if Aiden wasn't here, or if Aiden was here, would I be reading your novel, or would I be, what would be going on with the woman? So he knows that it's like her and Aiden. So wouldn't he be like, am I the handsome cousin from?
I know, yeah. He's
England-
missed the epilogue on the handsome cousin
Yeah,
from
but
London
it's like,
now.
but again, it's like there's so many things where I'm like, oh, this would be a funny thing. Again, if you're like trying to make a light, frothy comedy in some ways,
Which they're not.
when I remember I wrote something once and my mom read it and she was like, oh, this is me. And was like,
wow.
and was like,
Was it
but
bad?
A little bit. But she was like, oh, I didn't realize like when I would criticize you in that way, it had that sort of impact. And I was just like pulling, you know, a mother figure from the recesses of my brain. But like that would be an interesting scene of Carrie has this crush on Duncan. She's written this novel. There's got to be a character in there that's like a Duncan analog.
Oh, surely.
And he reads it and he goes, oh, this is me. Or the soldier is Aiden. Or if she gives the novel, you know, she lets Charlotte read a chapter. Or like Miranda even was like, this is you. Like you're.
Yeah, Miranda knew.
Right. But it's like nothing penetrates anyone like emotionally. And like all of the conflicts are so internal that nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing. And like with like at the very least, and like I'm sorry that I complain every week to everyone who listens every week that there's no sex. There should at least be a fucking sex scene in this book where someone's corset's being ripped off or whatever. Like, what is this genre? Because Carrie Bradshaw is known for good sex, so therefore, at the very least, you think the publisher would be like, whatever is going on here with these petticoats and this
drop a sex scene in there.
Yeah. Give us one juicy sex scene. That's all we want. So that is hilarious about Joshua Perry from I now need to look that up. Virginia Perry. I need to look this up and leave it in the show notes if that's actually true, because that is hilarious. And
even like when the publisher was like, you have to make an epilogue, I was like, Carrie doesn't know anything about 1846 to be like, yeah, this woman would be living alone. Or for her editor to be like, a woman living alone in 1846 is like a tragedy. It's like, if someone could say like, oh, I'm basing it on this famous writer that, you know, that lived alone and whatever, it's inspired by who, you know, some figure from history, then I'd be like, okay, yeah. Like,
and I don't agree with that either, because like my take is that if it's 1846, there's a huge chance if you're wealthy that you've been like forced into an arranged marriage, and it could be, you know, you may hate your husband, you may not be in love, there could be a lot going on there, it could be abusive. If he died and you were a very wealthy widow, I would imagine that's the best place to be.
Sure.
Because you're not at the mercy of being an unmarried. Being an unmarried woman, I know, would have left you vulnerable, but I believe being a widow wouldn't have left you vulnerable. Now, maybe this character's poor because her husband was like a soldier or something. We don't know, but like, I think the editor's take is a bit uninformed as well.
It's also like, why is this book set in 1846? When he was like, they came back from the war, I was like, what war? Like, what am I?
What is this?
What war?
I'm not informed enough to know what they're even talking about, and I don't believe Carrie is either.
Right. I was like, it's not a Civil War romance, because it's very specifically, it's sometimes you'll see.
They keep saying the years over and over again.
Right. And sometimes it's funny. You'll see like in a movie or something where they're like, oh, this character is like existed throughout time, or they time travel. They always find a way to like avoid the Civil War and avoid World War II. Yeah. And I was like, have they just done this so they don't have to actually like contend with the Civil War?
Yeah.
Because it's like nobody.
Because Carrie could not write about that.
But it's also like nobody is like, I'm an 1846 head. Like, what do you. Like,
like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. We're done with Carrie at the end of that terrible scene. Okay, we're going to take a break and then we'll be back to discuss the rest of the characters who didn't have too much going on.
New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins. Just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag. The one you stole from your ex. Or your overpriced half a studio apartment. Or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar. Triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a vitamin water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
In fairness. Before we get back to the recap, I just wanted to say that as we're on holidays, we haven't made it to the cinema this week. So on Sunday, we're going to be releasing one of our Patreon episodes, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, the 1996 classic. We had a great time watching it earlier this year. And we do this over on Patreon every month. Our patrons pick a movie for us to watch, and we both talk about the film and kind of the facts surrounding the film, how it got made, and it's a ton of fun. So come over to us tomorrow and listen to our review of The Truth About Cats and Dogs. Right, we are back. On to Charlotte and the silverware polishing. Be interested on your take, because you mentioned you're a cancer survivor. What do you think of the plot here, and how do you think they've handled it in general with Harry?
Well, one, it's like, part of it is like, okay, they've done this with Samantha. And when they were like, he can't have an erection, I was like, okay, then the at some point they're going to have sex and it's going to be like amazing.
I think that's the end for them, yeah.
And they did that with Samantha. And I really relate to Harry being like, we're not going to tell anybody. Cause like, you know, when I was diagnosed, I told like a very small group of people because people can be really weird and like have weird reactions. And like, you know, I have people who read my recaps and it's like, I just don't want a random fan that doesn't know me at all offering advice about dealing with cancer. I was like, I just don't want to do that. So some of Harry's, but for Harry to be like, you can't tell Carrie and Miranda makes no sense. Like that makes absolute like, and I'm glad that they did reverse it, but it is something that would be like, that's mean to
It's
be
really
like,
mean.
you can't, because it's like, you can't tell your sisters is basically like what he's saying. And even if you were like, I don't want people to know, I don't want people to see me differently, you would want your wife to have someone to like lean on because she can't lean on you. And like, you know, my mom and my dad, like they had to have like a person to lean on because they couldn't lean on me. Like you just have to do that. But it just is like, I just was like, okay, he's gonna. And I thought the scene where they were in bed and she was like, oh, I feel something in my back. I was like, oh, they're just going to have sex now. Like, how cute. Like, it's not going to be like this big, huge finale.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. And I don't really I don't understand the logistics of this, of what has been these people's Thanksgiving celebrations in the past.
Yeah, it's not like Friends where we know they all come together on Thanksgiving. Like he said, like it's funny because there's been two scenes, I think only two good scenes with Harry and Charlotte possibly for the whole 3 seasons, but definitely for this season. I can't quite remember the other two now. When he actually told her he'd cancer and they were out in the street and they went for a walk, I thought that was like genuinely moving. Then when she met Carrie in the pharmacy and she started crying, I thought that was a really good scene. And then I think the only other one that they've handled it, I think, kind of with emotion is probably this scene where he says, like, when I got my diagnosis, I kept thinking, make it Thanksgiving. It was a visualization, all of us here together and me alive. And he said, I'm already Mr. Softy. I don't want to come off like a total was. Like, I kind of enjoyed, like, he's often very annoying. But, like, you're right, though. If he's always picturing the four of them having Thanksgiving, and when I think of people I know who say Thanksgiving is not a holiday in Ireland, but when I think of people I know who've had cancer and they always say, like, I want to live till Christmas, I want to last Christmas. Like, I get that. So why did Charlotte never think about that? I guess he said it to her.
It is like, you know, and I remember, so for my treatment, I had to have a very intensive inpatient treatment. I was like in the hospital basically for 2.5 months. And so there was sort of like, this is the Christmas before Ali does this treatment. And then Christmas after, you know, a year later after Ali has done her treatment. So like, again, I fully get that. And I'm like, yes, that is something you think about of like, what is the holiday going to look like? Can I eat? Am I going to be, you know, feeling sick or whatever? But I was like, why? I just didn't understand. I was like, they have 2 kids and they seem to always sort of do holidays with Anthony and whoever he's with. So why do they have to go to Miranda's? Like, is this
Is it because she's
part
got a new
of
apartment?
Right.
Yeah.
You would never sort of be like, oh, this is the first time in a new apartment. Like, that's a weird, you know, I don't, for Thanksgiving.
She never hosted it before, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, or you would have like Thanksgiving, because it's like not religious, is very like open to how people celebrate. So, and like when Lizette was like, oh, I'm going to have something on Monday, like that is a thing that you're like, you know, in the US, we say there's like Friendsgiving, which is like the day before Thanksgiving, before you have to go be with your family. And then you have your family on Thanksgiving. And, you know, there's things where they call it like, oh, it's like Blackout Tuesday. And it's like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, because that's when everybody's in town. You go to a bar. And then, you know, so it's like, but again, it's like, why are we just, someone needs to tell me, like, do they always do it at Miranda and Steve's? And this is the first time. Do they always do Thanksgiving with Miranda?
Yeah,
and
they specifically said Miranda's never hosted Thanksgiving. So you're right. Like, why? And I appreciate she got a new apartment and she's just bought a new apartment. But like, her and Steve have been broken up a few years.
Right. It's a weird
Seema's
thing.
not going. Like, why was she inviting Seema? Because Seema and Miranda aren't friends.
Right. It's a weird thing to be like, I have a new apartment, so I want to host Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I wouldn't host Christmas just because I got a new place.
Right. It's like you would have a Friendsgiving the night before. Like, you would not have Thanksgiving dinner at especially when you have kids and all your friends have kids.
This is good cultural context because I'm like, all I know about Thanksgiving is truly like episodes of Friends.
Right.
Or,
and
like,
it is like, and it is like a thing where it's like, you know, if you're in a couple, like me and my boyfriend, it's like, we do Thanksgiving with his family and then Christmas with my family. And then next year you swap. And then, you know, your grandma comes for Thanksgiving and for, you know, it's like, it's a holiday that has a lot of logistics and people do it a number of different ways to like, but it is sort of like, it's your immediate family, like your cousins and your grandparents. Mm-hmm. It's weird that it's like, you'd be like, oh, we're going to have 4 different families.
All of whom are going to back out. Everyone's backing out. Like,
that are like, we're not related. Like, it just is so weird.
And we don't normally do this. We've never seen them have Thanksgiving. It's funny because I'm like, so if next week is the last ever episode that was apparently planned.
Yes.
If next week is a Thanksgiving where nobody shows up to Miranda's house, we will 100% know that this was not planned.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it can't be. Like Carrie's Last Supper last season, like as cringe as it was.
It's fine. Like, okay, we got everybody in the same location.
Yeah, it worked for what it was. What do you think of her inviting Brady's baby mama?
This also, I heard something as I watched the second time. It's his baby Mama Mia.
Oh my God.
Her name is Mia and she's the baby Mama Mia.
They're not even landing the jokes because like I didn't even hear that. Also, thank you for your dedication of watching it twice.
Yes,
what
of
a hard
course.
worker.
But I was like, when I heard her say it, I was like, that's why her name is Mia, because it's Mama Mia.
Because probably Michael Patrick King thought that was funny. I like when she kind of got in the like, sorry, we're jumping around a little bit, but while we're on Miranda, I like while she got into the fight with Brady and he's like, you're crazy. This isn't a fucking Hallmark movie. And she's like, don't call me crazy. And he says, Joy, help me out here. Is she or is she not being fucking ridiculous? And Joy just says, not like, Joy is very devoid of personality in these scenes. Has no interest. Like, Joy cannot be who Miranda ends up with.
Joy is avoidant. She is avoidant when it comes to conflict. And she was like, I'm not, which is also a fair thing.
I wouldn't get involved here at all.
Like, and again, it's like, that would be an interesting scene of like the next day, Miranda being like, why didn't you back me up with Brady?
That'd
And Joy having to be like, I told you I don't like kids. I don't understand kids. I'm not getting in this weird fight. Mm-hmm. Or for Joy to be like, yeah, you are acting crazy. You should not have invited that young woman. Mm-hmm. To have where it's like, what do these people actually think? Like, why are
to have a dinner party with Miranda's friends? Like, it's not even like I don't think Steve's coming. Like, Brady's only coming because he happens to live with her because he kind of fell out with Steve over not wearing a condom. So like, you're right. Like, the more we analyze this Thanksgiving plot, it almost is like they wrote the Thanksgiving plot just to give Miranda having invited Mamma Mia or something so that her and Brady can have these fights. Like, when you work it back, there's always some really crappy reason. It's like, okay, we need her and Brady to be fighting now. Maybe.
And I did bet they thought like, okay, at the end of the season we can have Thanksgiving because we've gone through the seasons. Mm-hmm. So whose house can we have Thanksgiving? And Miranda, it's her, you know. But then it is just it all. And it is.
Maybe Carrie feels mean because remember when Miranda was like, we can host Charlotte's party in my house, and Carrie was like, fuck your house, it's too small.
She's so rude for so like rude. A New York apartment.
Yeah, though now, like in fairness, if Carrie was your friend and you'd be like, we should just host it in the mansion. But like, so maybe Carrie feels bad about all that. Anyway, it goes nowhere because the plot never ends.
Yeah, we'll see the dinner next week. I guess.
I honestly hope they've skipped to Christmas. But to get back to Charlotte, there was one other interesting plot which hasn't really been here since season 1.
About Rock.
About Rock and Charlotte, like Rock walks out in this like lovely dress and wig and everything, or styled hair. I don't know if it was a wig or styled hair. And Charlotte's kind of reconciling with the fact, I guess, again, that Rock doesn't identify as a girl. And I always thought, for all the flaws with season 1 of the show and how clunky it was, that Charlotte and Harry's reaction to Rock identifying as non-binary was on the nicer end of the... Like, they were crossed that the school didn't tell them about it, because they were probably like, you should tell us what's going on in our child's life. But they were always very accepting of Rock, and I guess that always stood true to me as, like, Charlotte has always been a good mother who's...
Yeah.
Like,
and is a very accepting person at a
like
certain
she's
point.
Always, yeah. And I think this was, I don't know, what do you think about them? Is this them wrapping it up as the series is supposedly being closed? Or like, what are we doing
This
here?
does not feel like a wrap up, because also I had so many thoughts. So one, I was trying to take my notes and I did not know how to describe Charlotte wanting Rock to wear this very Thoroughly Modern. Do you know the show? Have you seen Thoroughly Modern? Oh, it's a very like frothy, silly, madcap kind of 20s musical. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I don't know how to describe Rock wearing this outfit, and I was like, is it not dead naming but dead outfitting? Like, you want
and you get secret photos of them wearing it.
Yeah,
though Charlotte did delete the photo at the end.
She did delete the photo.
Yeah.
And also I was a big theater kid. Anyone who's a fan of my work will know. But I was like, you would never bring the costume home. That's not allowed. Like,
was she implying? Or sorry, were they implying that that Lily had to alter it? Lily was doing the alterations. I think that was like...
She was like, Lily tried the makeup and the hair, and she's helping me with the outfit. You would never bring it home.
Especially in this fancy private school where they probably have like the world's best theater teacher.
There is an old woman with glasses all the way down her nose that comes in and does the costumes. Like, there's no... So this was like, oh my gosh.
But wait. Remember Mark Kasabian? His daughter was doing the costume, remember?
She was doing the costume. And then we saw truly almost the full number.
I mean, it was a lot.
Forget About the Boy, which is I love I saw Thoroughly Modern Millie when they did a revival of it. Is a very, very fun show. So I was like, yeah, a high school would do Thoroughly Modern Millie. Like, this was correct. But I was like, it is the whole fucking number. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, and like there's so many plots like hanging, like Lisa Todd Wexley and Herbert, which we'll get to. Like, what is happening with LTW? And yet I have to watch Rock do what seemed to me as a non-theater kid quite a decent performance.
Yeah, it was
and I thought
maybe
this kid is actually musical theater, and that's why they want to like give them a moment to shine.
Yeah, it was a little the song. It's a real showstopper. There's a big tap number in that song. And Rock was doing it a little like spoken word for some of it, because it is very like, all the songs are very jazzy. And then again, this is sort of like, I wonder if this ever came up, but like, I did a lot of theater in high school, went to a very progressive high school. We gender flipped and like race flipped things all the time. Like, I directed a show, and I like made all these different parts, men and women, and they would re-envision things, and I was like, why wouldn't they just do Thoroughly Modern like Mixie and make it a non-binary 1920s jazz musical?
I guess Rock like didn't care. Rock seems very confident in themselves and like, whatever, like, if I have to dress as a boy or a girl, like, I don't care. Like, Rock's like, gone from being quite annoying at the beginning of the season when they were carrying on about like, as somebody myself who doesn't buy Shein and doesn't agree with fast fashion, I'm like, I don't need to watch some teenager lecture me about it on TV either.
But it was, this was like, okay, I get, they had to figure out a way to get Rock into a dress, and this was the best.
And this was it. And meanwhile, Lisa Todd Wexley's son is apparently the male lead, and we don't get a whiff of him. Yet we were forced to watch 3 karaoke songs of him a couple of episodes ago, which was so painful.
Gotta say, the lead of that show, Jimmy, is not the kind of part that son would have.
Oh, really? Why? What's the part?
Because like, he was singing very like diva tragic ballads, and it is a very like, he was like also like kind of little and nerdy, and it's a very like leading man. It's a very like leading man. Not even like couldn't do it if you were effeminate, but it's like, this is the just like, it's a very like leading man, very straightforward, dramatic, not dramatic, but like rom-com lead kind of character.
And they only put this in to get Herbert at the play. Like, everything in it just like that is just like, we need to get X to Y so that Z is to A over there, and like, we'll just say he's the lead, but we won't actually show it.
Right. We're not going to show him. And it is sort of like, no, I know High School Musical theater. There is one straight boy that has been the romantic lead in every musical that they have put on for the 4 years that he is in that show. And also,
everyone still has a crush on him to this day.
Yeah, and it is crazy that Rock is the lead of Thoroughly Mud and Millie, and they're not a senior. Like, they're a sophomore. Like,
oh my God, I love this. Is deep theater analysis.
Or are they in middle school?
I have no idea. When Charlotte's kids come on screen, like, I die.
Yeah.
I die. Thank God it wasn't bloody Lily playing the piano in the corner as well. I'd have been like, I'm out of here.
But it was a thing where I was like, because it is a musical you could do as a middle school, but it is very ambitious. So I was like, oh, they must be high school.
I think it's high school.
But it's like, where's the one straight boy who
where is he? Well, they didn't show us anyone except Rock because
that is carrying the musical theater program on his back.
Yeah, and amazing. So basically, I think Charlotte, like, again, this is Charlotte being a good mom. Like, Charlotte even says, I can't take a picture, but then she kind of buckles and says, Carrie, you take a picture. And then she deletes the picture. And I thought, actually, if we're wrapping Charlotte up, like her and Harry having sex aside, which the show will want to do, I think this is a nice message, like, because I do think about, say, there could be potentially parents of that age group watching this who have children who are, like, not identifying, differently from what they were raised, and like that. I'm glad to see this message because I think they did a lot of damage to non-binary representation with Shay.
Yes.
Like, I always liked Shay. That's the thing. Like, I found them. I didn't like the fact that love interest was a full-time character because I feel like the love interest should always be secondary. So that was my issue with Shay. But it wasn't with Shay, the character themselves. It was with Miranda was annoying about Shay. Shay was there too much, but Shay themselves. No problem. I
think the show didn't understand why the audience found Che annoying. Mm-hmm. Or Che is like a fuckboy kind of character.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, this is like the most romantic leading sexy person. It's like, yeah, but they also are a fuckboy. Like, we can't erase that part of it either.
Yeah. Like Big was.
Yeah. Sure. Some of our greatest love stories.
Yeah. So I think, I like this plot. Anthony, right, real quick. What is happening here? So last episode, Giuseppe only moves in with Anthony because Giuseppe's flatmate is like a perv. And then we see him proposing. Like this, why is Giuseppe with Anthony? And why is Giuseppe proposing to Anthony?
I thought it was going to be something because the whole thing of Giuseppe's mom doesn't like Anthony. The amazing Patti LuPone in a star-making turn, that if Giuseppe got married to Anthony, something would happen with his trust, because that came up when she was having dinner with Anthony. And so
that would be good, but that's not conceded.
So when Anthony was like, oh, I'm having second thoughts, I thought it was going to be like his mom doesn't want him to marry me, or I can't, like,
he's too young.
That was the problem. Or just like about like his mom hates me, his family hates me, he's gonna lose his trust. Like, that to me was like, those were the seeds that were left of like, I can't marry someone if their mother hates me. But no, it's just like, I pay for things. Like,
yeah, like I think they just wanted to like, this is where I think the lines lead the plots a little bit, because he says, I don't need a 29-year-old extremely well hung baby, and I kind of feel like that the delivery of that punchline was kind of worked back a bit, like because as far as we know, Giuseppe's a very sweet guy, and Anthony, as far as we knew, was obsessed with him. So yeah, this all comes out of nowhere. And it's what is fucking happening?
And it's a similar thing kind of Seema and Adam of like, well, he has mommy issues. And it's like, Giuseppe, out of anybody, should have mommy issues. Like, that
hugely.
is...
Last we saw her, she was threatening Anthony with a knife.
She flipped over, like, a dinner.
Yeah. And dropped the Italian accent.
Right. And so I was like, okay. But yeah, just sort of like, I pay for everything. It's like, is that a problem for Anthony? Like,
Anthony's finances bewilder me because he's gone from being like a top end, high end wedding planner to being like a baker. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
Right.
And also on the writers' room once they said that they were making this bread shop as like the place for them all to hang, like a meeting place.
And they
But
never
they've only been
hang.
in there like twice.
Right. If my friend owned a fancy bakery where I could get a baguette and a croissant and like a slice of quiche, I'd be there every goddamn day.
I'd never leave. Yeah, I'd
That-
never
what-
leave. I'd be like, you
that's-
can kick me out.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the dream.
Yeah.
That is
And a
the
free
actual
coffee?
dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd pay for one coffee and I would demand free top-ups.
Refills. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, again, all this Anthony plot is telling me this show was not planned to be cancelled because this, in the next episode, if they get together and get married, even if the next episode's their wedding,
It's also like we've
Why?
seen this of Anthony doubting Giuseppe and then realizing, oh no, I do love Giuseppe. And like I understand on TV, like, you know, you sort of run the same thing over and over. It's like every relationship Miranda gets in, she's gonna over intellectualize it. Every relationship Carrie's in, she's gonna, you know, find something to that she's not good enough for this person. Like that kind of, you know, can come up a lot. But like for Anthony, it's like, just get like, we've done this in this relationship. Like, I understand, you know, it's like couples, my mom always jokes, like you have one fight your entire relationship and every version of your fight is just that. But it's like, we've had this fight, we've settled it and we don't need to have him to tell Carrie that.
yeah, honestly, this about turn makes no sense because last we saw Anthony was the one chasing Giuseppe. So this leaves me befuddled and bewildered, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Right, on to the last. So Seema, oh no God, we land on Lisa Ted Waxley. So Seema, thank Christ, yet again, the only character having sex in this show. It really harkens back to Samantha and Smith for me, I think. This whole thing. And I always liked Samantha and Smith. I just never thought that like she should have ended the show with him. But I think Seema and Adam, like I think I'm happy for them. How do you feel about them?
I'm happy for them. It's a little bit of like, I had a moment of like, where is Seema's like fabulousness and kind of like her take charge attitude? Because she's sort of like in the scene with Carrie, or I just wanted a scene of like that she's like, she said, "Oh, I love you," to have a moment of like, where is this going? What does this mean? To have lunch with Carrie and be like, you know, now I have to make him the man that I'm supposed to be. Like just some, just like, okay, yeah, they're in love, I guess. I don't want to go to Thanksgiving with his sister. Like that.
Yeah,
It just
opposites
doesn't,
attract. Yeah, I like them.
I like it. I like that someone's having sex. It's like
Thank God.
either make it way sexier and they're just like all the time they're sneaking off into bathrooms or like let's have them be like a real couple. And I think right now they sort of don't feel like a real couple. And now they've said I love you.
And because they've accelerated so much time as well, like they've probably been together about 6 or 8 months. So actually saying I love you is maybe quite, if they've been exclusive for that long, I don't know. And then we kind of end on Seema where Carrie says you're determined to make this lovely invite a bad thing. I really hope next week is not a Thanksgiving episode. It'd be so boring. I can't believe how boring that would be.
It for sure is a Thanksgiving episode. They love like, let's get all the characters around a dinner table. Everyone, I'm gonna call it right now. I'm gonna call my shot. Everyone's gonna have to go around the table and say what they're thankful for. And it's Harry and Charlotte are gonna have like a wet-eyed, weepy moment where they're like, family. I bet you she gonna say that.
And then he gets a boner at the table.
Yes.
And he's like, yes.
So she's gonna say family or they're gonna say our health. They're either gonna say family or our health. Lisa Todd Wexley, what is she gonna say I'm thankful for?
Not her husband.
Herbert is going to say, he's going to get his act together. She's going to like dress him down and be like, you got to get your shit together. And so he's going to say, I'm thankful for like getting back up again. I think one of them is going to say getting back up again.
Why would they be in Miranda's house? Like, have they ever met Miranda? Like, this is a serious question.
Because they were at Charlotte's birthday party.
And while Miranda sang Girls Just Want to Have Fun over in the corner.
I think I think they've met, but it is odd if you're like I'm going to bring my whole family, because that's what it sort of seems like.
Yeah.
To this random woman's house for Thanksgiving. Because it is.
And like, it's a small apartment. Like, I mean, it's by New York standards, it's huge. But like, to have like 15 people over in what is essentially like one central room. I mean, I don't think Joy's showing up though. So at least she'll lose Joy. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Lisa Todd Wexley, right?
Yep. Herbert is just being a drip.
He's like, we discussed this last week. As a politician, this was what he was trying to do. Lose weight, get photo opportunities, be a man about town, pretending that he was in community groups and like getting in for, for publicity. And then they said the working class are the reason we didn't get it. It's like, oh, these are like Trump's mates. I'm suddenly realizing like what's happening.
Like, hang on. He's running for comptroller.
Yeah, what is that? Please explain.
It is basically like the accountant for the city.
Oh, I had no idea what he was running for.
It's like, it is nobody gives a shit. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I don't know who the comptroller of Chicago is. Nobody knows who the comptroller. You vote for like, there's all these positions in Chicago too, like on the ballot where it's like the water reclamation judge. And you just literally are like, yeah, I just vote for the person with the Democrat next to their name and not the, like they're all.
Herbert ain't a Democrat, I'd say.
Right. Well, he is. He would be.
You think?
Yeah, he would be.
Talking about but they're saying that the working class swayed the vote because they hate the working class.
But it's like I think
super rich.
It's like in New York, it's like in New York the Democrats can be wealthy.
Okay.
Like in a big city, like you're sort of, if you're like on East Coast city or LA or Chicago, like the Democrats are rich people.
So they could be Park Avenue, like
yeah,
poor people.
Yeah, like it, and also like because of their race, like it would be if he was a Republican, it would have come up because of their race. Like if a black person is a Democrat in America, it is like, or a black person is a Republican, it is something someone would have commented on.
Okay.
Like it's just almost one of those like default things. But like the guy who's the governor of Illinois who runs the state, he is like a billionaire and he's a Democrat and he's one of the like top Democrats in the country that everyone's like, we got to listen to JB Pritzker and see like what he's going to do. And they're like, maybe he'll run for president, but he is like literally a billionaire.
Wow. Okay. And so what you're telling me is if Henry failed as comptroller and he's a hedge fund manager, this is bad then because it's not even that high a post.
It's not. It's really like that's why when they were like he's running for comptroller in like the very beginning, whenever this plot was first introduced, it's like this is not like glamorous. This is not like, I don't know if the person running for comptroller is like doing a bunch of events, like
and losing all this weight. Like, why are you losing weight for this?
Yeah, like you don't need
campaign?
You don't need, it's not like nobody care. I don't even, again, like I cannot tell you how little I know about the comptroller of Illinois or of Chicago. It's truly like it's like running for treasurer.
Okay. And they're like, you lost to it. So he's all like sulking and all the rest of it.
Right. It's like, you
lost to a community activist with bad shoes. I hate how these people are speaking about.
And like a community activist with bad shoes would not run for comptroller.
He's
like it would not.
I think and like I was thinking of Mamdani's campaign, and I was like thinking of it's amazing the momentum behind him, right? And like he's like an icon over in Ireland, right? Everyone loves him. Everyone's obsessed with him. And I was like Herbert or Mamdani, do you know what I mean? But now I realize they're completely different titles.
Do you remember Carrie when she dated John Slattery?
Yes.
He was running for comptroller.
Oh, so it's a callback, and she ruined his campaign by writing the article about him pissing on her, which was amazing.
But it's like it's a totally boring like.
Okay, are you glad Herbert didn't win? Because I was glad he didn't win.
I didn't care.
I didn't care until the show forced me to watch a whole episode about him.
It is a thing but it is a thing where it's like, just make him run for city council. Like even that is like
something better. And
even that, to have the outcome be, he lost to like a community organizer, like that makes more sense. Nobody,
Whereas he's a hedge fund manager, so it would make sense that he maybe be a comptroller.
Yeah, it's like
interesting that like he's kind of sitting around like he's such a little baby, and he only lost something that small then, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you lost a community activist with bad shoes. Don't give a thought to all that money we donated. The principal's like, I tried to rally the LGBTQ vote. This is often where I feel like I remember the show's made by a gay man, because sometimes I feel like it's really homophobic. Like
it's very
Giuseppe.
It's
but then he's gay and I'm not, so I can't speak
there's
to it.
someone who's on The Valley, which is a spin-off of Vanderpump Rules, and I've been reading, and people are like, this is a gay man that needs to have other gay friends, because he's just like he's around like straight people all the time, and and like almost like performing a certain type of like gay sassiness that like
That's
a lot
what
of
I feel the principal like was actually being like, as if a principal's going to be hitting on an audience member
at a school function.
And is this the same principal where they had the gag about the school shooting in like
Yes.
episode 2? Like,
Yes.
what is this guy? And like, why is he here? And like, why?
He also said, "Oh, I just came out." Like,
oh yes,
in
and
this
I don't know
one
how to
line.
act around. I don't know how to act around hot man because I just came out.
Right.
So
I was like, okay, what a lore drop on this man.
I know. Yeah. Is he getting a spin off?
Yeah, this newly gay principal, like newly out principal. But yeah, I cannot stress enough that comptroller is not like a big deal. Like,
so he's the bigger baby than I thought. Like, he says, I'm not going to go to the office. In the last scene we see of them, they're going to say, here comes the loser. I failed. Like, if my 7-year-old was talking about this, I would like, get a hold of yourself.
Yes, it's just like, okay, like, you know, how many times you have to run for office like before you win? Like, if you don't have,
because people don't know you, you don't have name recognition.
No, and
he lost so much weight, no one could recognize him.
Right,
you know?
and it's sort of like implied that like his wife sort of maybe is like, because her dad ran that theater, so like she maybe has a bit of a name. Like,
she's like an influencer, which has been dropped, but like in season 1, she was like an Instagram influencer.
Right. It's sort of like, okay, she maybe has a bit of like, she's a bit of a name. In my mind, I was like, again, I know this like tier of black person very well, but I was like, okay, she's sort of from a family that, you know, they're sort of well known, but then they sort of imply that like his family, they're very like snooty black people.
Really? Like his mom's the one who was making comments about the working class and like, how dare you do something if you weren't going to succeed, like crazy stuff.
So I was like, okay, I have family members that are kind of along these lines. So I was like, okay, but it never hit that he was like well known or like it just was like, he's just a guy. But
and
yeah,
it doesn't go anywhere. Like she says, I've never been prouder to your wife. And the last scene we get of these two, 1 episode out from the season ending. This is not helping. Go to work, please.
So
okay,
rude.
Please go to Marion and have sex with Marion, because I've been begging for this.
Yes,
where's the Marion block on? Like, what's happening?
And I love that actor. He's on Law and Order, and he's just
he?
like,
he's so good.
But it's so funny because like on Law and Order, he's very like buttoned up because he's playing a cop, and I was like, oh, you've got some charisma. I love it.
He's very cute. Like I think him, and I liked Adam Gardens, but I'm over him now as well. And I liked any man that they write too much, I get over. Like Duncan, I'm over. So Marion's the last man standing here.
Yeah.
And she's just had her snooty husband telling her basically, fuck off to work. When she's trying to, she said, I've never been prouder to your wife, which has to have been a lie.
Is that nice?
Because he's such a little moan. Like, but that's just really supportive.
That is such a nice, like,
yeah.
If
nice.
you lose, like, I've had friends that have run for office, and you know, they don't win, and you are really like,
it must be so devastating. And like, you have put yourself out there in public. Like, I understand that you'd be embarrassed.
But this is such a position that it's like, you don't have to put yourself out that much to be a comptroller.
Right,
like nobody's like digging up dirt on the comptroller.
All he got was like in the school, he got all the moms donating money, and apparently all the newly out principals, LGBTQ buddies. You're like, okay. So basically this is where we end off on these guys. This to me does not a 2-part finale make. No. I'm doubting Michael Patrick King's words now. I'm calling the man a liar on this podcast.
We're going to end with Thanksgiving, everyone around the table. And what are we thankful for?
Which they did last season. Remember at the end of the last supper.
But I think that is they're gonna do it again. I think they're gonna do it again. Mm-hmm.
And remember they had all those other characters they've written out, like her ex-podcast co-host and his girlfriend, never to be seen again. They got rid of so many, and they needed to get rid of characters, but I think they did it too late. They got rid of so many characters, but then like Lisa Todd Wexley, who I've been very interested in, has been buried. Yeah, for 3 episodes, it's been all about Herbert. It's like, fuck Herbert. Who is he? Why is he the center of her story?
Well, it's just like, one of my, this is like big picture sort of, like one of the things I think Sex and the City did so well is they would have like a topic and then everyone's story would kind of be reflecting on that topic. So it would be like talking dirty. So then it would be like, Carrie would be interpreting that theme, talking with somebody, with Aiden, that Aiden doesn't like dirty talk and Carrie does, for example. And then you would have Samantha gets caught talking dirty on the phone at the office. And then, Miranda has a boss who swears at her. So that's like dirty talk, right? And so then you're just like, okay, and then they would have a scene at the diner where they would all be like, oh, dirty talk, I love it. Well, I hate it. Don't you feel demeaned? Like, and that's why people can do that meme of like a news story and they have on Twitter, and then they have every girl give their opinion, and then Carrie goes, Big is moving to Paris. But it's like they've introduced all these other characters that do have an interesting perspective of like a wealthy Black lady, filmmaker, artist. Yeah, I want to know what her perspective on commitment is. You have a fabulous Indian American real estate agent. I want to know what her perspective is on splitting the bill with a new boyfriend. And I want to know what Carrie thinks about that, and Charlotte and Miranda, like in there. But everything is so disparate and like nothing connects.
Nothing.
So like the experience of watching it, you're again that feeling of like, oh, this scene's over. Will it come back? Who knows?
And I've lost faith. It's why I enjoyed the last episode so much, because I felt like loads of things came together and then new things happened, like the Brady. So there was like some impetus, and now the Brady thing's falling apart, because again I'm like, so in one episode is it now going to be resolved that, like, to Steve's point, and like Steve did act irrationally and like kind of crazy last week, but Steve was like, you've got someone pregnant and you don't even know how many times you've had sex with her, and like she doesn't want to know you. Like the fact that she doesn't want him involved, like what does that say about Brady? What does it say about how he treated her those few times that he doesn't even remember having sex with her? Like there's a lot to go into that, and all we get is like Steve shooting his mouth off, and now Brady's like having a fight with Joy or whatever. There's so many things here that I want to know, and I'm going to tie myself in knots.
Yeah, it's like if time has passed from the first time Carrie and Duncan hooked up, I want to see them on a date. Like I want to see...
Yeah, he's just gone now.
I want to see Carrie introducing Duncan to Miranda, who's his, like... She's a super fan. Like we got a little bit of that, but it's like, yeah, let's have Duncan come to like a fashion-y thing with Carrie and be like, oh, you like this frilly fashion-y stuff, but it, or whatever.
Instead, he talked to her shoes. Remember last week, and he called her their mother.
Yeah. Oh
which
God,
was all a bit weird.
Very.
So your prediction for the finale then is the Thanksgiving thing, and I hope and pray. If this is a true to Honest God finale, which I don't think it is, I hope they fast forward again, because they love fast forwarding. It's like the baby's been born, and there's some closeout.
Oh, we're gonna jump, because she is a few months pregnant. She's really showing.
Is it gonna end on the baby's not even been born, and maybe it ends on Brady saying like, and her agreeing that like Brady can be part of the baby's life? But what's happening, Lisa Todd Wexley? Like, is she getting a divorce? Like, what's wrapping her plot up? Miranda and Joy, I don't think they should be together.
I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with, like, Joy is boring, but I'm like fine with her.
Yeah, just let something happen.
And she's just like so avoidant, and it's like someone should tell Miranda she's being insane.
Yeah. And like Miranda has desperately needed some queer friends, so at least by having a girlfriend, she's not just hanging out with all the straight gals, which is what she's been doing.
I loved, this was almost my cringe moment, but Miranda goes, "You're scaring the dogs."
Oh yeah. So, by the way, they're all such saps. Like Miranda bought this apartment specifically so Joy could bring her dogs. Like they are very codependent people.
Yes.
So what was your cringe moment of the week then?
I really did not like Harry pulling an iPad out from between him and Charlotte, and him saying, "I tried to watch porn to make myself have an erection."
Said my penis watched porn.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah, just that whole storyline. I'm not. But that specific moment of pulling the iPad from bed, really,
it's pretty cringe. And she didn't
pretty
really react.
rough.
She kind of laughed.
Right. I think they have a very like sexually open relationship.
Yeah.
Like Charlotte always has been like a secret freak if she's in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
But I just was like,
she didn't mind it. You minded it more than her then.
I just was like, this is weird. This is a weird plot line.
My big cringe moment is obviously the epilogue, but actually I was so thrown at the very beginning to learn that Carrie ordered pies that she was never going to pick up, so to deliberately leave them rot. Like that's dark. Like there's a lot of businesses I donated to during the pandemic. You know, the way it was like you can buy a voucher and you can use it at some point in the future. I wasn't getting them to bake me food, like waste their time and energy that I was not going to eat. So I think that was my cringe moment. Oh my God, no, sorry. My cringe moment is 22 years. That's my record.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Sorry.
I have a secondary cringe moment that also involves Lizette. When Carrie goes, they say you can never go home again, and Lizette goes, novelist Thomas Wolfe is the most,
she googled it,
like, unnatural conversation, because that's just such a phrase that you hear.
You don't Google it, yeah.
I would just be like, yeah, you're right.
Because Carrie's point was, you've destroyed my apartment with these drywalls. And they're just constantly trying to be like, look, Lizette's Gen Z. And Carrie has young friends.
And she's dressed like Pat Benatar when she sees her in that like red or like a pink faux leather jumpsuit and a fur coat. I was like, this is Pat Benatar.
We did not discuss how bad the party was, by the way. It was just the two of those in a bedroom. And then her flatmate in the other.
What a weird party. Because she was like, we're having people over, but I'm just going to sit in my bedroom with Carrie. I know his friends are there like, was that her mom? Like,
what's happening? And he was so cute, and I'm so desperate for hookups. I was like, will Carrie hook up with him?
Yeah.
I've lost the plot now. Ali, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me.
Emmy nominated, right? Like you're in contention right now for an Emmy.
Yes.
But you've won like the last few years?
I have 4. This is my 5th nomination going.
So you guys win every year?
Hopefully. I always
What's
say
the category?
We're variety writing. So and our show is nominated for best variety sketch series, but I am only nominated for variety writing.
What? How fun. And I love John Oliver. Is he so cool in real life?
He's very cool. He's a little nerd. But
I can imagine that.
He's very nice and thoughtful and like it's a good place to work. We're all happy to have a job, and
I can imagine
that's his job. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be quite a privilege to write for a show like this. And as you know, the way you mentioned earlier that you fans from afar, I never forget, because I used to follow you on Twitter when I was on Twitter. I loved your tweets. And I'll never forget you like sharing a picture. It was like 2020 and you were like, I just got a job working on John Oliver. And I had this moment of like with a complete stranger on the internet where I thought, I'm so happy for Ali. And I was just like, who's Ali? Tell everyone where they can find you anyway.
I am on Twitter and Instagram at WT Flanksteak. And you can always watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on HBO. I don't know what time or when it comes out in your country, but
it's on Sky here. Yeah,
it's on Sky.
We'll just watch the Emmys and we'll watch you go up on stage and collect.
Yeah, the Emmys September 14th. So
amazing.
Hopefully I'll be on stage. Yep.
And we'll be linking you anyway in videos of this. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another recap of And Just Like That. I can't believe it's the second last ever one. I'm frankly devastated. But I'll see you next week, and what we're going to do is actually bring the episode out next Friday, a day early, just because it's the big finale, and I don't want anyone waiting to hear the chat about it. So come back next Friday to hear us discuss the last ever episode. And in the meantime, I said before on this podcast that I had reviewed season 2 with Rosemary McCabe, and then obviously season 3. I forgot that in lockdown I actually reviewed most of season 1 with my little sister Elizabeth, so I'm going to put it out for fun this week, just because we've never put it on the main feed before. It was only in Patreon, so you can listen to that and be reminded of all the terrible wonderful plots of season 1 before we come back again for the finale. Bye.
Gosh, that's not the way I thought this was gonna go.